Dr. Swabra from Premier Hospital, Mombasa, and November is World Prematurity Month Awareness. And there's a lot to be said about prematurity. There's a lot about the causes, there's a lot about the effects of it, there's a lot on the baby, and there's a lot also on the mother. The impact of prematurity reaches far and beyond what we see in the hospitals. It may reach as a long-term complication to this baby that has just been delivered. And so I thought probably to shed more light on this crucial topic. So what is prematurity? Premature birth or premature labor is any labor that starts between 28 weeks, which we consider viability, and 37 completed weeks, what we considered a fully formed, fully ready, fully matured baby. Anything in between is preterm or premature birth. What may cause premature birth? Mostly obstetric cases may include if there are any issues, structural issues with the womb, if there are any infections in the course of a pregnancy, chorioamnionitis and UTIs and febrile illnesses, if there are any issues to do with the pregnancy itself. So for example, a baby that naturally has abnormalities like hydrocephalus usually probably may predispose to prematurity. Any pregnancy that is more than one baby, higher order pregnancies, twins, triplets, quadruplets, would definitely most likely give you premature. So basically, how I would summarize all these women, these are women who fall under the category high-risk pregnancies, and probably all these high-risk conditions were not picked during antenatal, and this may predispose a woman to premature birth. History of a premature or preterm delivery in the previous pregnancy, even though there's nothing going on in this pregnancy, highly predisposes one to another premature birth. So why so much noise about premature baby? Because immediately the woman delivers, first of all, this baby, it's always a gamble. Are we going to survive? Are we not going to survive? The lungs, as we know, have not yet quite ripened. Yes, they're formed, but they're not fully functional. And so then survival becomes a conversation topic. This baby will most likely get admitted into the NICU unit. This baby will need supplemental oxygen and will have respiratory distress syndrome and all these other conditions that pediatricians are better placed to talk about. Immediately, all the other systems, it's not just the lungs that we're talking about, from the brain of a baby to the lungs, to the GIT system, to the development of the other systems, to absolutely every aspect of this baby is touched upon. And even in the developmental milestones, these babies, if at all they should survive, don't quite hit their milestones at the time that we expect them to hit these milestones. I will narrow in on the woman who has just had a preterm birth. By the way, as a declaration, all my babies are preterm birth, so I speak this from a point of imenigusa. So you have to look at this woman that, first of all, she's most probably had a cesarean section to deliver safely this preterm birth, and so she's nursing a cesarean wound. This woman is being required that, hey, you have to express milk every 3 hours to feed this baby and keep this baby that is in nursery, is not with her. And so this woman is not sleeping well, is not healing well, is just all over the place, and this already puts a stress on her physically, emotionally, psychologically. She's a prime candidate for postpartum depression or postpartum psychosis. Away from the woman, let us talk about the financial implications of premature birth. As I say, most likely these births are usually cesarean delivery. Of course, that costs more. An admission into the NICU is thousands and thousands of money. And at that point, then you realize how costly it is to keep a human being alive on oxygen. Every minute, every hour is charged as long as the child is on oxygen. This child needs so many multidisciplinary reviews, and all these sort of add up financially. Imagine if this couple or this parent is paying out of pocket. It also puts a strain on the health system. NHIF, still someone is paying to this bill or paying for this bill, and so eventually it adds up. If we're going to talk now strictly about the baby and long-term complications about this preterm birth, we're talking about development of every other system, and I will narrow in on the mental system, physical system, that there are studies that now prove that this baby will have a long-term sequel of this preterm delivery. This baby is predisposed to cerebral palsy and developmental issues later on, autistic conditions and learning, issues, behavioral issues later on. You see, this is not just a baby that you've just delivered now. This is a human being that is growing and is now, I don't want to call it a burden, but the weight of raising this human being financially and all these aspects that surround raising a differently abled child sort of come together eventually, and we can trace it back to the premature birth. I will not go into so many details about it, but I will urge you watching this, if you're pregnant or you know someone who's pregnant or you are planning on pregnancy, take it upon yourself to educate yourself about preterm birth. To the healthcare workers, there are preventive measures that we can do, catching these high-risk pregnancies that may prompt our help so that we don't end up in preterm birth, putting in stitches, treating infections, and basically isolating these high-risk pregnancies. To the pediatricians, that we work as a multidisciplinary team so that we enable a better outcome for all these preterm births. And so in this Prematurity Awareness Month, especially 17th of November, which is actually World Prematurity Day, I urge you, take control, educate yourself, support a woman who you know has had a preterm delivery or a premature baby, and let us all come together for a collective effort towards avoiding such births. Thank you so much. See you next time.